mic, and we'd like your name and your address, and we hope that those of you who speak live here. And we have a good number of candidates here, and I asked them if they would understand that we would not be introducing them or not letting them speak because this is not a political forum and it's not fair, so everybody agreed. So.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Sharon Dolly. I live in Harbor Ridge inside of Terry Cove. And I have some notes. I've listened to everything that you presented today. So I just wanted to compliment all of the former city commission and the mayor and those of you that are here now for the beautiful beach aesthetic that you've created in Orange Beach. I'm talking about the Veterans Memorial flags in front of the City Hall, the beautiful fire department across from the wharf, this gorgeous piece of property that is a crowning jewel driving into Orange Beach as a visitor or a resident. I know you don't own Coastal Restaurant, we don't own Coastal Restaurant, but that property up there at the T is also a jewel. Waterfront Park is gorgeous, hosts a beautiful arts festival every year, and I guess I'm trying to understand where we're going here because you've done a phenomenal job. Coastal Resources Center, the old building that's now the school board. I've only been here for 8 years and I've seen all this happen. And I'm proud to call Orange Beach home like everyone else here. I don't want to live anywhere else. I came here from Atlanta. I love it here. I don't complain about traffic because we don't have traffic. We really don't. But I'm concerned about... My name's Sharon Donnelly.
I just want to record what you just said. Say it again.
I don't mind traffic. I came from a traffic nightmare. This is paradise. You guys, we live in paradise. And that's what I'm trying to find out. Why is there not another solution? Because I see that the possibilities of that property could be the crown, or the top of the crown for Orange Beach, that it's directly across from City Hall with the veterans flags, etc. And it could be an extension of Waterfront Park where you could increase the number of patrons and vendors for the art festival. You could have a real dog park with benches. You could have a kids splash pad. You could have a gazebo. You could have music. Everybody could bring their chairs. And this would appeal not only to residents, but as well as visitors, because if you really read the comments from the visitors, I have been reading what the visitors have been saying about this whole story. They don't come here for commercial like PCB and Destin. I'm just saying, I've been studying, as you have, Tony, a lot of the comments of folks that are coming into this area. They're coming here for the quality of enjoying time with their families on pristine beaches that are not crowded with all these giant monstrosity ick buildings. And so I realize you're saying that you can't stop the person from selling their property to who they want to sell it to, but you can, this commission can stop the PUD. And the last thing I wanted to say is you referenced the Pirates adventure in Panama City, and I had heard, and I do not know if it's true, I've never been there. If I did go to one, I would take my grandkids one time and it would be one and done because it's pricey. But we don't want to listen to sea lions wailing every day right behind our house. I live directly behind where the proposed possible parking deck would be. It would I listen to many species of birds every day because we have the loveliness that we get the first bird drop coming from the migration coming from South America in the spring, and they all come here and feed themselves to make it across the water. So those are natural resources you can't replace. I have big owls this big behind my house. All this kind of stuff is going to be gone, along with the heritage trees. So we really need to just look
Let me play devil's advocate. I get your point, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I do.
Thank you, ma'am.
I do. And I do think these guys are going on. All right, I'm going to play devil's advocate, please. Okay, it's going to be something. We can't commit to buy the property while it's under contract. And then if there's another contract and another contract, there's no place for us to buy the property. Secondly, I go back to the financial side. If we buy the property, which I'm not saying it's a good or bad idea, then we're going to be expected to buy every piece of property in Orange Beach that people don't want developed. And that is, please, Captain's Cove, that 60 acres over there, you think they want that developed out? No, they don't want that developed out. And I get how beautiful the property is. I do understand that. But what I'm trying to get out of this is we got to get away from what's just not possible to what is possible, and what would you rather have? If you don't want the Pirate Theater, then that's fine. But at the same time, you don't want traffic, then what do you want? Because if others have more traffic associated with it, I don't care anyway. But it's hard for us to know. Just a no doesn't help us. So I've laid out every option that you have. Our buying it is an option, but it would have to be under the perfect circumstances. Ma'am, please go to the microphone if you got something to say.
Mayor,
Please don't holler out from the crowd, okay? Go to the microphone.
Mayor, as a point of clarification, can you clarify whether the property sale is contingent on the PUD approval?
It is.
Thank you.
It is. But I do believe there's a backup offer on the property. Okay, you were here for, you go ahead, man.
My name is Waylon Armstrong. I live at 5219 Hickory Lane. I am 9 years old and I really love house. Good evening, Mayor and members of the Orange Beach City Council. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you tonight. I'm here today because I care about the trees in our community. The trees are important to me and to a lot of other kids. Even if we don't always get to speak at meetings like this, trees give us shade when it's hot, which is really important in Alabama. They help keep the air clean so we can breathe better. They are homes for birds, squirrels, and other animals that make our neighborhoods feel alive. And they make our city beautiful. But lately I've noticed that more trees are being cut down for new buildings and development. Near my home on the Blackburn property, a lot of trees were taken down. And since then I've seen animals that seem confused and out of place. I've seen them in my yard and near roads where they don't usually go. When trees are removed, animals lose their homes. They don't have anywhere safe to go. And that can be dangerous for them and for people too. I think we should try to protect not just the trees, but the habitats that animals depend on. I understand that people want to build new things and that Orange Beach is growing, but I think we can grow without losing so many trees of our trees and the wildlife that lives in them. When trees are gone, they don't come back quickly. It takes many years for a tree to grow big and strong. By the time a new tree grows, I might already be an adult. I'm asking you to please think about new ways to protect more trees and animal habitats when new developments are planned. Maybe you could make new rules that save biggest and oldest trees, protect areas where animals live, or require builders to plant new mature trees to replace the ones they removed. I love Orange Beach and I want it to stay beautiful, green, and full of life. Not just for me, but for everyone who comes after me. We kids are the ones who will be growing up here. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much.
Well, darn, I have to follow that, I guess. I'm Brian Dale. I live on St. Lucia Drive in the Cherry Cove neighborhood. I can appreciate what Mr. Silvers asked about whether or not this town could even support the dinner theater and how could they make a profit. And Tony, I appreciate your comment that it's really not our job to figure that out. Smarter people have decided that they can. But I think the reason is because wherever there's a pirate dinner theater, those towns can't support those dinner theaters either. They draw customers from all over the area. Myrtle Beach doesn't have enough people there, but people come from Charleston and wherever else. And if we have a dinner theater here, they're going to be coming from Mobile and Pensacola, maybe Navarre, maybe Mississippi. I don't know, but we can count on them getting the customers there because they do draw from a wide area. That's not necessarily in our best interest as a town to have people have traffic coming here from people that aren't even staying here, on vacation here. We already have enough traffic from the people staying here. But recently I've been reading the planned development or managed development document put forth by the Planning Commission back in 2020 for the years 2020 to 2035. And I think it's an excellent document. I think they did a great job and should be commended on it. But a plan really only works if you follow it. And it's the reason we have a document like that is so that we can rein ourselves in whenever the next shiny thing comes up. Because we have to look and say, well, now what was our mission? What was our plan for that time? And are we staying true to that? I'm looking at the mission statement for the Gateway District, and in that document, each district in town has its own mission statement. The Gateway District is Highway 61. It's the only north-south corridor in town. And the mission reads like this. The city of Orange Beach seeks to continue to improve the street corridor by planting trees and heavy landscaping, implementing architectural standards for new developments, and enhancing pedestrian-oriented areas with pedestrian amenities such as benches and public art. I would submit to you that this is a departure from that mission statement. Further down in the document, it offers recommendations for the future. I'd like to read recommendations number 4 and 5, which state, number 4, include requirements in the city's zoning ordinance for non-residential land uses as shown on the future land use map that promote economic development while protecting the city's character. Let me repeat that. While protecting the city's character, neighborhoods, and natural resources. Number 5, continue to eliminate land uses inconsistent with the character of the area.
Those aren't my words, those are y'all's words. But I think that goes to the heart of why it's standing room only. Because we all know intuitively that the Pirates Voyage Dinner Theater is not part of the character of Orange Beach.
That's why we're here tonight.
Yeah,
Because
that's right.
That's exactly. So let me ask you this, trying to be pragmatic and not, we voted down. I don't need you to sit in our seats. We voted down. No problem with that. That's what everybody agrees to do. What are you okay with there?
I'm okay with keeping the zoning as it is.
The mobile home park?
Because I have a question about that. You know, most of it's really just an RV park. And I do understand that whoever buys it next will probably maximize that use, and there'll be lots and lots of slips there. But I'm sure that if they're going to spend $16 million on it, they're going to use it in a way that doesn't deteriorate and, you know, drag down the city. It's going to continue to be well kept. Traffic will be less because they trickle in and out. But to your point, on one of your slides you mentioned something like 16 mobile homes. Is that right?
No, 16 I think it was duplexes.
Duplexes, okay.
Yeah,
But
that's-
some mobile homes. Did I hear that right?
The 100 double-wide mobile homes.
I have heard that the city of Orange Beach no longer allows mobile homes. Is that not true?
Everywhere it was zoned mobile home. So this is zoned mobile home, so they can bring in a mobile home.
Okay.
Anywhere in Bear Point where it's RS1, RS2, RS3, whatever, if there's a mobile home, it can actually be replaced, but, or did we eliminate it and replace it? No, I mean,
mobile home park.
they cannot be replaced in any residential zone. Correct.
That's right.
So that unfortunately is still mobile home park. I don't know whether it'd be a mobile, I don't know. I just, again, why I'm here is, if we don't want that, and everything you said is true, I don't think there's one of us here that do not understand why you would not want it there. But at the same time, if we're going to be here, tell us what you want there. Because I've laid out, you've got retail, you've got mobile home park, and you've got RV. And if those are okay, I would think we're okay with that too. But the traffic concerns are not as great with those, I mean, the traffic concerns with those are greater than with the Pirate Theater. So,
We don't,
guys, what are you talking about?
if we keep the zoning as it is,
Yeah.
then by right, they could do all the stuff you're saying, but we don't know that they will.
They may not. Who knows?
But we do know what's going to happen if the Pirates Cove Theater comes through.
And that's what I'm
And
asking.
we don't know what's going to happen with Lot B that the city owns, because that can become developed in the future as...
Well, if they buy the whole thing, the same thing can happen. Okay. But, I mean, I agree with you. It doesn't fit, and I get that, I really do. But it just, again, I would love some consensus on, and I guess I've got it.
Yeah.
Whatever it's on, let it be that, and traffic down, this, it just doesn't matter. Stick with what it's on. Is that what y'all saying?
I'd like to say something before I forget about the brave, young, beautiful lady that came up and spoke. She's awful brave to do that and did a fantastic job.
I should have recognized her, but my brain was going here. So.
I am new on the council, but isn't there a way that we can do, like some of these big, large subdivisions, just talking about the Blackburn property on Canal Road, at West, by doing like a 15-foot buffer setback with trees, 15 foot of trees, so you don't have to look at all that or something? Is there a way we could do that? Not, it's too late now, but I mean for future projects.
Well, what we're hoping is we're not going to do, there's not going to be any more residential projects, except for what is zoned residential. Because of the reasons I said financially, they're a drain on on our financials. So we've got so much right now zoned residential. The last thing we'll do is add more to it. But I mean, again, it seems like the consensus, first off, if y'all care enough to get out, then I have to think that y'all must be a good overall representative of what the city thinks. So if your thoughts are go with the zoning, I think that's why we're here. Am I wrong?
I personally believe, first of all, I want to say you did a wonderful job. You were right down the middle. You told everything that could happen, what could happen. The city will make more money. The city will make more money with the pirate show. I want the pirate show, but I want it on the north side of the bridge. Tony wants the same thing because you talked to him about possibly putting over there. We've looked at every possible scenario. And I want to tell you, is a backup contract, do you know if they're going to ask for a PUD?
I don't know. I just was told there's a backup contract.
If they do, I am dead set 100% on the city trying to buy the property. And we talked about that before, and here's one of my reasons. I believe there's not much left. I think 30 years from now, the council is going to look back and say, man, I'm glad they brought that property where it's located. There's so many things we could do with it. We talked about this, Tony. Maybe we could sell it. If we bought it, then we could put whatever we want there. We could sell half of it, put whatever we want there, keep the other half. It solves the drainage issue. It's a lot of money. I don't want to pay that kind of money for it, but if we had, maybe we can afford it, maybe we can't. By looking at the numbers that I looked at, we can. And I look at it this way. It's not taking $14 million, whatever it is, and buying a yacht and watching it depreciate. It's taking $14 million from the savings we had, putting it over here in property that does what? Go up in value. And if we ever get in a financial crisis, we can sell it down.
But again, I agree with you. We bought $60 million worth of property. So it isn't like I don't agree, but we really aren't in a position to talk about that because it's under contract.
Mayor,
My bad.
Under contract.
Mayor and Jack, before your time, the golf course that we own now, it was a private entity. The council and mayor back then previously bought that golf course to turn it into the Orange Beach Municipal Golf Course and what it is, but it also helped us go in there and fix some drainage problems in the surrounding subdivisions. So you look at that, and I don't know if you know that, Jack, but we did. And that's one of the reasons why. We had some flooding issues around the surrounding subdivisions, and we bought it, and we corrected a lot of flooding issues there, and we got the residents a golf course. So I get the lines that you're thinking of, and I appreciate you bringing that up.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, in Tony's defense, once again, we've been getting beat up so bad on Facebook. First of all, I haven't taken any money from anybody. If you could, or I would have bought a nicer truck. But
I guess I shouldn't have.
But we have all been getting beat up, and everybody here, I know everyone here, they want the best for the city. But this is true life options, what we have. And Tony has laid it out perfectly, what they can do. And I've seen it happen, like talk about Washington. They could have had 15 houses in Blackburn's property. I've seen it. So make sure if you turn it down, you know what you want. I'm not a fan of the pirate show. I think it needs to be over there. I think the city needs to buy it. And I'll shut up because I'm probably going to get in trouble with this time.
I'd like to add one thing to that. From the very beginning, I've been a big fan of the pirate show. We have great arcades. We have great putt-putt coming. But we do need family-friendly entertainment of some type. And since the very beginning, I've had an issue with the location. And I've offered a spot where if they, now again, they would have to agree, it's their money and they can go wherever they want. But the location for me personally has been an issue. And to kind of piggyback on what Jack said about the stuff online and how corrupt we are and everything else. I'll just tell you for Robert Stewart, the first time someone says that, I discount you right off the bat because you obviously don't have any information that's going to be relevant. If that's the only thing you could stoop to is accuse people of being corrupt, we knew what we were signing up for. We knew it. We knew what we were signing up for. But just call people corrupt when you didn't even know how we felt about anything, it's just not right. Because again, from the very beginning, I had to be location, but I appreciate it.
And I try not to let anybody know where I'm at because my job is to be advocate, devil's advocate. Right. And that's what I'm trying to do. But we did try.
Let the people speak.
Let the people speak. Let the people speak.
Please, do not call out, please. We looked at different, if I have something to say, I think it's important. So we did look at other options and other locations, but we couldn't, there was nothing else that worked out. But we tried. Yes. I'm sorry, I don't know who that is.
I think it's my turn.
It was his
Is
turn.
this on? Can you hear me?
I can't.
Okay. Tony, I don't know if you remember me. I voted for you in the last election. I give you kudos.
I wish you hadn't.
I wish I had not voted for you.
Because I wish I'm just kidding. I appreciate you,
I'll be brief.
No, you're fine.
I'm adamantly opposed to this. I'm here because I'm angry. But what I'm hearing from the city council is they don't want it there either. Put it somewhere else. Sell them the event center. Put that city hall. Don't. That is totally incompatible with residential neighborhoods and surrounding. That's why we're here. So, I think all of you elected officials need to listen to the citizenry and put it to a referendum. And you'll have your answer.
Thank you.
My name is Megan Huggins. I have a couple questions, and I appreciate you putting together this presentation. Oh, sorry.
You got my short leg disease.
I appreciate you putting together that presentation for us. I wanted to point out, you presented the alternative rendition, the RV park and I forget what the second item was, but I wanted to point out that in both of those slides, I noticed that the engineering renditions were stamped Pirate's Voyage.
Right?
They're engineering stamped by Pirate's Voyage.
Yeah, we created it.
No. Pirate's Voyage, as a former engineer, I know what that is. Pirate's Voyage commissions a rendition. The drafter puts the owner of that drawing on the right side, and in both of those drawings is Pirate's Voyage. My question is, why would Pirate's Voyage be doing a rendition for what the KOA is propositioning or what this other, and why have they not been asked to do a traffic impact assessment, which is standard protocol for a major impact development? Why would they spend money to do that?
They have to do a traffic study.
But can we go back to that slide so that people can see that the origin of that, in fact, poor crop job?
And someone put it back up and it's cropped off.
That one?
No, keep going.
Site plan.
The engineering drawing that you presented for what the alternatives could or could not be, and why we don't want them.
Site plan.
The site plans for the
Site plans, yeah, they're done by engineering drafters.
Okay.
Seems like a lot of work for the opponent. If you look to the right, Pirate's Voyage is the owner of that drawing.
I can't understand. Forgive me, Megan, I can't hear
If
you.
you look to the right side, you can see where you failed to crop it, that it says Pirate's Voyage.
Yeah.
That's the owner of the drawing
So-
that you presented.
Adam Robertson, Community Development Director. This was designed by the engineer, civil engineer of record from the Pirate's Voyage. Under PUD request, we always tell them to provide us some by right plans versus what they're proposing.
Okay, and so let me ask you why there hasn't been a traffic impact assessment, which is generally required?
That is with AlDOT at this time with their traffic consultants.
Okay, so you don't have a third-party independent contractor doing that?
They do have a third party that
And we haven't reviewed that prior to rezoning this property.
this hasn't been rezoned at this time. It is
But
just
that's
being talked about tonight.
Typical though, prior to rezoning a property, you require the commercial developer to present a traffic impact assessment. That's standard protocol for the city, correct?
It can be under research at the time. It does not have to be submitted when it goes to the planning commission.
Especially for a major impact development, and also any property greater than 5 acres has to have an environmental impact assessment performed. Isn't that correct?
That is correct.
And that has not been done either.
Not at this time.
And it's going to vote.
Not tonight.
Okay, this is
It was supposed to go to the planning commission May 11th, and a lot of that information would be provided at that time.
May 11th?
And then council would have voted on it on June 2nd.
the process is the process. They will meet all requirements at the point in time that there is a vote. This is a courtesy. This is something we're doing extra because we wanted to get everybody out to talk to us about it. I mean, it would have been easy just to hide and not do anything and vote any way we wanted, but we're standing there taking the slings and arrows, guys. But the protocol is the protocol, the process is the process, and it will be followed. There will be nothing, there is no shenanigans, there's nothing behind the scenes. It's going to get done. Yes, sir.
My name is Anthony Gallo. I'm 26100 Marina Road. I don't have any bats to swing. I've just got a couple of strategic points to make out. So, first question I had, the Margaritaville development, how many phases is that?
3, I believe.
And how many total vehicle parking spaces is that those 3 phases roughly going to entail?
A bunch, but I don't know.
And out of that bunch, I'm sure
Yeah.
upwards of 80 to 90% of those vehicles are at some point going to venture their way to the beach, down 161 preferably.
Agreed.
At the 70% capacity that you mentioned earlier that AlDOT put on 161 currently, has any one of those first, second, or third phase developments potential traffic studies after completion and opening, what each one of those phases will impact and how they'll impact the 70% that's currently on 161 prior to the Pirates development going in, since that's already been approved? And then I'll go to that.
That's a good question. It makes perfect sense. I mean, we're interconnected. Everything affects everything.
Absolutely.
And I get that. But they are required to do what they're required to do, and they will have to do that. But I don't know that it's required if they have, Adam, it's your area. Chris is our civil engineer.
Yeah, Chris Pappas, city engineer. So the Margaritaville development has a traffic study that's currently under review by AlDOT. So that impact at 161, how far they expand that traffic impact study is up to AlDOT because they control the access. I don't know if they would look as far down the line at 161. They typically look at near intersections, access to Foley Beach Express, that type of thing. They typically wouldn't look that far down the road, but obviously it would have some impact on 161 level of service.
I appreciate that answer, and I'm going to preface this with, I'm just a very direct person, so don't take any offense to this. I'm just using the words that I heard earlier. As CEO and your board, and this is not vehicles coming in, this is money, because I look at life the same way. I try to look at life, do a lot of business as well. I'm not really convinced that the city, without having that solid information in place, as a CEO with your board of directors, y'all have, it's very, very difficult for, I think, for anyone in this room to believe, because if you live here, you're intelligent, or you got really lucky. So I'm gonna say this with,
I don't know if that's an insult or compliment. Help me out here.
give me a minute. So anyway, what I'm saying is, without having that solid information, as CEO, I think everybody in here in this community would expect you to figure out a way to stop our business, your company. There are zoning text amendments. There are life safety issues. There are real terms that are brought up in legal capacity in planning and zoning and these types of developmental situations. And structure at the size of the Pirates, and I get it, it's 285 times 3, it's less than 900 cars a day. 5-10 minutes at a time, you're looking at a max of a half an hour a day. I get it, it's really not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. But at the same time, the city's looking for y'all to open the planning and zoning book, put in a zoning text amendment. It's about, what, a $500 application fee and a half a page document, and I've done one in Gulf Shores. You know, there's ways to skin a cat. And whether this goes or not, we can set this up for the future. If this doesn't go, maybe y'all can redirect the PUD. You can do a ZTA and say, hey, we're gonna change the PUD requirements. We're gonna change these requirements. While we have an opportunity, before another 5 or 10 years get down the road, let's maximize y'all's potential to control the environment the way we really wanna control it. And I'm done.
But that's you essentially just told everyone exactly what the moratorium is doing. Okay. So that's what we're doing. That's what it's all about, is everything you just talked about.
It's just got to be more specific.
Well, but and I do understand it. And you're correct, you are. But we're dealing with hindsight. Mm-hmm. You know, that's the issue. And it's just tough. I said, please put yourself in our place. I'm not an advocate. No. Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to say, okay, guys, help us out with the alternative, because something's coming.
That was the answer I wanted to give my opinion on. You keep asking that same question. Yeah. I think the answer to that question is the same answer in the question of life. Hypotheticals are a dime a dozen. We can speculate as to what comes down the road, what it's zoned for, what it's not zoned for. But I think everybody in this room loves to lace up every time they feel like it. And if we need to come back here every 2 or 3 years or every 6 or 8 months to do this again, we'll do it one at a time, one development at a time, one PUD at a time. It doesn't matter to us. That's a golf cart ride for me.
But that's appreciated. But you don't get that opportunity by right. That's my point to everyone, is by right gets in the middle of anything we think or want. That's what happens. So again, I agree with everything you're saying. It's just the by right issue, and I gave 3 examples of what happened or could happen. So, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, my name is Ty Fleming. I've lived here my entire life.
Yes, you have.
And my mom was born and raised here in the 60s. Her family had their first store that was down the Canal Road called J&J Variety. My dad was a city councilman in the mid-'80s, right after the city was established, and he had a lot to do with building the city out, like, first post office and stuff like that. Anyways, Councilman Jack Robertson, I really like a lot of the stuff he said, especially putting it north of the canal. That'd be great. And I really like what the First Lady said, talking about, purchasing the property and, making it more of like a waterfront type thing. I think that would be great. I think that would be more along the lines of what Orange Beach is. But, I keep hearing you talking about, this could be the better evil of what could come if we put this down. And then I really like that you went out and proposed buying half of that property, right, and keeping it for water runoff and keeping trees and nature the way it is. That's awesome. But earlier, someone mentioned the different phases of Margaritaville, and I understand that this is what we're talking about here today is just the first phase of this thing. So my question is, if we go with the lesser evil, if this becomes what we do, and you purchase half of the property, how long does that stay the way it is? Or do you end up selling it to them for the second phase or the third phase? Or?
No, we bought it, so we haven't bought it. If we bought it, it would be to preserve it as it is and hopefully redirect drainage to help Terry cover. That's the public purpose behind purchasing it. and that's why I asked. And it was also to eliminate the mystery of phase 2. So that now is off the table. That's
That's what I wanted to hear, thank you.
Can you clarify whether parcel B is under contract or not?
No, it's not.
Okay, is it part of the original contract for sale for the Pirates Voyage? Or is this just negotiation that you orally agreed to?
Yeah, this is just me and the developer talking. I said, will you sell it to us? We're on 12 acres, what will you sell it to us for? This is the number we came up with, and that was it. So that's why I wanted that to present to y'all. If that is something we want to pursue, then by resolution, y'all will say, please go negotiate a contract. Then I will pursue that.
Ty, since you mentioned my name, I would like to say that I'm 100% sure everybody up here would love to have it on the north side of the bridge. We're just looking at...
Agreed.
You know, and it's just the way it is. I said the other day, it's like you got two of your girlfriends trying to figure out which one you're going to have to marry. And Jeff knows about that. He went up with a good one.
Jamie, aren't you lovely?
Married up.
Yeah, so it's and you gotta have we gotta have revenue. Everything's going up like Tony said. Is that the right thing? To me, it's not. We got Margaritaville coming online. That's going to help us a lot. But I don't want something else to go in there by right that might be worse than this. I don't know what it could be, but I think y'all know where I stand. But Tony, in his defense, he has to come up here and present exactly all the facts, and he's done that. But I know where everyone's heart is.
Jack, are you shooting it up towards the goat farm, like next to the goat farm, possibly looking up there? Okay.
Just a little way up the road like Montgomery.
So before I'm done, I just want to clarify, you said purchasing that property is also to prevent a phase 2 from happening, right?
For what? Phase 2?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It would be our property if the council went along with it, and then again, it would be hopefully to redirect drainage as best we can, save trees,
For how long? I mean, like, would there ever be the option to sell them the property that you purchased?
I don't know.
Would you guarantee like that it's protected from that?
Well, cities are not supposed to be in speculative market dealings at all, and there's a court ruling on that. So I don't want to be investing in it for speculative reselling later on down the road. My idea would be keeping it and then turning it into what we just said, a park of some kind.
That's
would be my idea.
I would love that.
Again, any council after us can do anything they want. So, I don't know that it can be deed restricted. We would look into that if it could be.
But if you go ahead and turn it into a waterfront park, then it is what it is now.
I know, but the value of it, that doesn't matter. If somebody wanted to sell it, they would sell it whatever it is. But again, I wouldn't think any mayor and council would ever sell that. I would hope not. So.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Pastor.
Everybody, appreciate it.
My name is Bomar, and I live on Canal Road. And I want to thank you folks for keeping I heard this word earlier, character of the city as close to the way it was in '86 as possible. You guys have done a great job, and I thank you for that. I have a concern, though. This is emotional. You're messing with my heaven. Not intentionally, but because you were put in a position to have to do that. My concern is that we don't know the impact on us because something is being built right now we haven't learned to feel the actual results of, and that's the margarita thing. And I think it's too close to put some other large, influential business in this community like what's being proposed. Trees were mentioned. I think it would be a great idea for the city to buy this park for two reasons. It's security. about keeping the character of the city. And I know a lady who lives in that park. She's one of the most special people you'll ever meet. She's going to have to move if it's sold. Thank you.
Brian Collins, I live at the Cree, but have property in Terry Cove also. If this fell through and you guys could buy it, it'd be a great place for the Tony Kinnan Memorial Fountain.
I'll hold you to it. Are you a finance?
Okay, after that bit of levity, council, you may remember some years ago, I don't remember exactly when, but there was a proposal for a Popeyes on 161 by Dolly General. And I remember reading that that proposal was shut down because of traffic concerns. How in the world could you then, using that logic, approve this?
It was shut down because of the bypass. That was the problem.
Too close to the bypass.
Too close to the
But I think
bypass.
about it every day,
Yeah.
being a refugee from New Orleans, because every now and then I might run to Popeyes.
Yeah, there's this urban myth out there that we're fighting fast food, and that's just absolutely false. We have entertained every fast food there is, and every one of them are the same. Your demographic is still not where it needs to be to support us year-round. Your labor force is not where it needs to be to support us year-round. You see, McDonald's can't keep the lobby open all the time. So it will change. But also the property that Popeyes wanted to be built on
Too close to the
was too close to it would have to be upzoned because it's neighborhood business, not general business. So that zoning would have to change.
These are fine points I'm not familiar with. I miss my Popeyes.
So again, clearly, you know what I mean? Just make sure everybody knows. We're not anti-fast food.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. My name is Neely Faulkner at 4300 Azalea Street. Tony, I want to thank you for the presentation. You offered a lot of great information for citizens to be aware of what's going on. And I also want to mimic what Jack said. Kudos to little Miss Armstrong, who was brave enough to get up here and use her voice at such a young age. It's certainly not easy to get up here when you may be met with opposition. So thank you to Ms. Armstrong and especially her parents. The question I have is, for a point of clarification, is there a concern for potential litigation for not approving a change in zoning or supporting this project?
Is there a chance of litigation for what?
For not approving a change in zoning or supporting this project?
No, no.
So there's no concern for litigation. Do you mind giving a rough estimate over the past 12 months, approximately how much taxpayer money has the city spent on outside legal counsel or legal defense costs related to pending litigation involving the city? Do you have a rough estimate?
I have no, you need to talk with our attorney, and I don't know if we don't discuss legal issues in public.
You don't discuss the amount of taxpayer money that has been used on legal defense?
Not tonight, we're not. So that's not what this is about. So.
Okay. Well, can you discuss, without discussing any strategy or case specifics, can the council provide a general estimate regarding how long current litigation matters are expected to remain active?
I'm sorry, I can't understand. You have to slow down. Say that again, please.
Okay, I'll read it slower for you. Without discussing litigation strategy or case specifics, can the council provide a general estimate regarding how long current litigation matters that are currently pending are expected to remain active?
No.
You cannot comment on that?
Nope.
Okay. Can you comment on whether or not, generally speaking, does the
No.
city council have the authority to vote to release records in order to reduce additional taxpayer-funded legal expenses?
Yeah,
Is that the purview of the city council?
I think you can take that up with the city attorney.
I certainly will, thank you. Last question I have, was the council aware of the information that was contained in the presentation prior to tonight? Were they able to see the presentation prior to tonight?
They saw 70% of it Friday at the chamber conference. The only thing they didn't see was the last third that was the planning commission / what could be there, et cetera, which all of them have been on the planning commission very familiar with. So it's nothing they haven't already seen. So yes, they did see it.
Okay, and have any of the council?
I did, I put it together. They did not participate in that, I did that.
Understood.
I
Have any of the
haven't seen
council
the
members?
presentation in whole until tonight when everyone else saw it.
Do what?
I said I have not seen the presentation in whole until everyone else saw it tonight.
I just said that.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
I have not seen the presentation in whole until tonight. I've got some flyers here that somebody got in their mailbox and such. I've been invited to a couple meetings with the mayor, but I've declined. Thank you.
Thank you for
I
answering.
really don't understand the point. I think that's, I don't get it. I've done this 18 years and this is the way I did it, this way everywhere. I've never
Right, that's
involved
okay that you don't
council.
understand it. I was looking to understand. The last question I have any council members been included in the discussions concerning the purchase of this property, or has it only been you?
Purchase of the 12 acres?
Right, the
It was
agreement,
me and staff.
but no council members?
Do what?
No council members?
No.
Okay, thank you.
No, we don't do negotiations by committee. And it's really making it hard to even talk about buying it now, because now if somebody knows we want it, it's really hard to get a good deal. So, go ahead.
I'm Jack Rogers. I live in 6210 Yellowfin Street in Latter Place. We own 2 businesses locally, but most importantly, I've got a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old here in the community. Like many young families, I'm deeply invested in what our area looks like, not just today, but 10 to 20 years from now. It's becoming increasingly clear that growth is happening quickly. We're already hearing discussions about the need for a new middle school, while our high school is reportedly at or near capacity at this moment. We just built it. At the same time, I continue to hear comparisons to places like Panama City Beach and Destin. I believe there are lessons to learn from those markets, both positive and negative. What many families and businesses owners want here, and that's the question you've asked respectfully, are to use models like 38.
Yep.
Communities that have maintained strong property values, family-focused attractions, quality schools, and a high standard of living, while still supporting tourism and economic development while also raising property values. Growth is coming no matter what. The question is whether we guide that growth in a way that protects families, supports infrastructure and education, and preserves quality of life that made people want to move here in the first place. And it doesn't make too much sense in my book, but north, great. But we've got, what do we want in that area there? Let's be honest, where's the middle school going? If we start to outgrow this,
Do one thing.
where's the middle school going?
The middle school's going to be on where it's at now. It's going to be expanded. The school will be expanded.
This school will be.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It will be. And the reason is to move it to a separate spot. If you look at the numbers, it would up the cost $25 to $30 million, because you'd have to reproduce a good bit of the current structure that's there now. So that doesn't make sense, And schools couldn't afford that. So, but I've heard the 38 thing, and I like 38 and I get it. But please understand, 38 doesn't have a community. 38 doesn't, no, not really. They don't have a community. They're a bunch of millionaires that have very expensive homes. But they don't have this performing arts center. They don't have the ball fields and the high school. So it's sort of oranges to apples when you're comparing them. And I don't want y'all to conflate my concern about revenues, meaning that I'm open personally, this is just me, I'm open to just anything, and it's Wild Wild West. I'm not. But throughout this discussion over the weeks, it has been, no growth, no growth, no growth. And I just thought it was important that we talk about what does that mean, because we need some kind of growth, but we just need to be smart about it. But that in no way supports one project or the other. It's just philosophically, how do we pay the bills over the next 10 years? So, if that makes sense.
When people are thinking 38, they're also thinking about that green space with retail space and restaurants and infrastructure like that local families and tourists can use at a regular basis. That's more or less, I think, a good comparison.
I'm very familiar with 38. I really am. But they don't have a community. It's not us. And I wouldn't trade here for 38 for nothing, because they're no fun. We got too much to do here, but we got to pay the bills. So I'm not poo-pooing what you're trying to say about protecting who we are and being at a very high level. I get that, I truly do. And I think you're dead on there. But I just think sometimes we forget we have a community, a real community. Destin doesn't really have a community anymore. Panama City doesn't have a community on the beach anymore. But we still have a community, and that's special too. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Want to flip the coin? Go ahead.
Hey, I'm Debbie Foster. I live on Canal Road. Jack, I'm not, it's okay. I think you just talked about first I want to thank y'all, and I want to thank y'all, because I was hoping to fill this place. You just said that we're a community, and that's what we're afraid of losing with the And Tony, I'm going to remind you, Mayor, I'm going to remind you your words, and that's all I'm going to say.
Remind me of what?
I'm going to remind you of your words, of what you said when you were running for mayor.
What was that?
You said, we have a bubble in Orange Beach. And you said, I'm not going to do anything that's going to burst that bubble. I'm going to give you my word.
Have I? Have
We're here.
How?
We're waiting.
This is a project submitted, they have the right to submit it. Please, if you got a problem with what I've done, please come to the microphone and express it.
I do want to make a point that I've actually been to the Pirates dinner show in Pigeon Forge, and it is a family-friendly dinner show. The show is actually a great show, and I find myself probably, quote-unquote, hard to impress. So I think something that's been missing from the conversation tonight is that this is a family-friendly event, and that kids do love pirates. My little girl told me this morning, she came to me and gave me a hug. She said, Mommy, are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm just going to have a hard day. There's a lot of upsetness about this pirate show. And she was like, what? I love pirates. So I think the problem for me, and I want to echo what all the council members have said so far, is the location. If we can find a more appropriate location up north, then maybe we could reconsider that.
Yes, sir.
Justin Messinelli, I've lived here for a little over 3 years. I don't really have an agenda. I do not know what was said on Facebook. I just have been attending. I want to thank you guys for giving all of us this opportunity. And I have some questions to ask you based on things I've heard you say and what other people have asked you in responses that I'm a little confused on that I just want to be straight on. So do I understand this correctly that the environmental impact and the traffic impact.
Can I get y'all to turn up? Do we have?
Sorry, I can lean closer. Apologies.
Yeah, get closer to the mic and talk louder.
How's that?
Yeah, much better.
Yeah, so my question is, I have several questions, but the environmental impact and the traffic impact, they do not need to be done and delivered to you before a decision is made? Am I understanding that? It can be in progress, essentially is what I heard?
Question.
I think he's trying to just get his answer.
Adam,
Thank you.
He was
apologize. The coastal permit will have to be submitted when we go to permitting, even though the PUD may, if it's approved through planning commission, city council, then they come for permitting, right? At that point is when we would see that to make sure they are compliant with the ordinance. That's for the coastal permit. Now, you had the traffic count, right, study. It has not been completed. The traffic study will not stop the project. They will just give us a plan that they like to see, or what ALDOT will approve. So
That's fine. That's fine.
okay.
The fact is, whatever the outcome of that is, doesn't need to be seen before basically everything gets rolling. That's fine. I just want to. That's all. I just want to make sure I understand that. So the moratorium that you're talking about, I came in kind of late. This moratorium is basically on zoning for multi-unit housing. No more.
Mobile home. Mobile home.
No, you said the moratorium, correct?
Yes, the moratorium.
Oh, the moratorium is on residential multifamily.
Yeah.
North of the beach road.
Okay, north of the beach road. Okay, so, understanding that, so if, again, I don't actually care that much. I mean, I have my opinion, but like, process is gonna be the process. But this goes in, there's seals, animals that'll be there year-round. They may not do shows year-round, but they're gonna have seals and animals there year-round, most likely, right? They'll have staff that they would need to have there year-round. They may not do shows, but they'll still have some staff. So, I'm just curious, do we feel like, and to tie this into your statements about we need more revenue, there's Margaritaville, there's this, do we feel like we have enough affordable housing for some of these people who are going to start working in this community to live in the community?
I'm sorry, that's not an issue. That's not on the table. That's a discussion for another day.
That's fine. That's fine.
The market.
That's a question I'm left with. I understand.
The market dictates what is affordable and what can go here, not us. And if it's on mobile home and the mobile home is approved, mobile homes can come here.
Sure. Yeah.
So
it didn't have to be mobile home either. It was just.
No. Well, I'm just saying it's going to be hard to find anything that's affordable in Orange Beach.
Certainly.
Not by the world standards.
And if we're pushing for revenue from other sources, commercial sources, I guess is what I'm hearing.
Now, let's don't conflate what I'm talking about revenues. My concern that I had said, and this is why I brought it up tonight, is the revenue side of this has nothing to do with the Pirate Theater. It has to do with the mantra that I've heard over and over, we got to stop growth. But nobody wants to stop all the good stuff we've got or see that reduced. And my point to everyone is, what we have as a community is very expensive and very expensive to maintain, and a really large labor force. We have to be cognizant of revenues. That's what that was all about. It has nothing to do with the Pirate Theater or anything else.
Sure.
Okay.
Agreed, yeah. And I don't think it was actually you that said it. It may have been Jack or somebody else from the council that said something about, things are going up, we need revenues. It was just an offhand comment. But
well, we always need revenue.
Sure.
I don't want another COVID or BP oil spill. Luckily, we're in a whole lot better shape financially than a lot of surrounding cities. And I mean, we're very lucky to be where we are financially. And I agree with Tony on everything about that. And Tony's right. He's a businessman that's running a multi-million-dollar corporation. Mm-hmm. And you have to, money is a big factor. Where we're going to get it from versus quality of life. And you always have to have that calculator and think what could happen down the road. And so money is a big factor. I want the Pirate Show for the revenue. It just doesn't need to be there, in my opinion.
I think that's pretty much what the room thinks as well. I completely agree. Not opposed to any additional sources of revenue. I'm left with the question, we haven't actually seen any of the revenue from Pirates Cove yet, or Margaritaville yet. So, and you guys introduced it, the underpinning of maybe why this is a necessary thing that we need to actually resolve. Do we feel like we're maybe comparing what our budget is now before we actually see this influx of revenue from when Margaritaville is up and going?
We got numbers for everything.
All right.
I don't know what you're asking, but there's nothing that's not on the books. So the issue is, if the national economy turns, and we go from a 5,000 a week visitor from an 8,000 to a 5,000, it don't matter if we have the same number of people here. Our revenues go down. And it doesn't matter how many sources of revenue we have. Our revenues go down. And that is always my concern, is 100 eggs in the basket if we can. But that doesn't mean every egg deserves to be in that basket.
Okay.
So I would think that's just common business sense,
It is. I'm just making sure. A lot of things were said. I'm making sure that I understood the sort of crux of everything, motivation. And it seems like, as I said, everyone here agrees. Like, especially if all the proper procedures are followed, we can't really tell them no. But maybe we can get them to go somewhere else. And sure, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure I understood some of the things about the decision-making process. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for doing this town hall meeting and listening to us and what we believe for a city that we enjoy living in, working in, and participating in as a community. I listened to everything you had to say, and I just have one question and clarification. So on the property zones, we're looking to rezone commercial so that the pirate show can come in, correct?
It would be rezoned PUD.
Okay, a PUD.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
then, you're talking about purchase half the property so that we could be responsible for proper drainage, correct? And
Yes,
then
ma'am.
keep the property that way. Why would we be responsible for doing proper drainage and purchasing property at that amount? Why would they not be responsible for providing financially for damage that their buildings and parking lots are going to create in our city?
Our ordinances require that water on their property be maintained on their property. The problem we have in town is generally it's a 25-year flood event. That's the norm. Well, the last few years we've had flood events or rain events significantly more than that. No one is responsible for that. That is when you start seeing water in all the yards and all the ditches, is we can't move that much water where we are so flat. You know, Terry Cove Drive, Martinique, St. Lucia, that's 7 or 8 foot elevation for a mile. There's not enough fall to move the water down to sea level. So what we're trying to do is by buying that property, they're going to retain their water, or we will work in concert with them to redirect the water to where there's already essentially a river running through the wetlands there. That allows us to do that. And that protects us for something greater than a 25-year event. But for my ordinance, no one's responsible for anything more than that 25 years.
Okay, and then one other thing. So I've been following on Facebook probably along with everybody else. We all know a lot of people in the city. And I saw, I'm not for this Pirates building. I would love to have it somewhere else. But I saw somebody do a rendition in town. They are builder. She has a type of design engineering background, and she built a whole image of what she thought we would encapsulate it. It was almost like taking what you have at the port, at the wharf, and building something like that on those acres where families and community can come together, whether it's small restaurants in there, whether it's a park, family atmosphere, where we can have go-karts or golf carts and be able to just drive up and drive in from all different areas locally in the city. We don't have anything like that for a city that's owned by the city or, anything. It would be nice to have that next to the Civic Center. I think that would be the type of commercial I would want to see in that area.
Well, that would not be up to us. That will be up to the developer, and that developer will develop that property based on land costs. Land costs will drive how many square feet of retail they need, and that will drive how much traffic is in and out. That's why I tried to give the comparisons of 24 acres is 21 acres at the wharf, as close as I could. It's not apples to apples exactly, but again, land cost drives what will go there. We have no say in that, and that was a very, very pretty drawing. It really was, but that's a fantasy.
Okay.
Because at that land cost, that's not going to work there. So.
Okay, that's great. Like, I wouldn't understand that or whatever, but I'm appreciative that you let me ask my question.
Yeah, and I don't mean to be, it's just really complicated at times. And, but that drawing was really well received. I mean, it really was. But
I thought it was fantastic, you know what I mean? But,
and if the price was half on the property, then you might be able to do something close to that.
yeah, I would want to purchase all the property, not just a portion. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Mark Dickute. I live on Perdido Key. I was listening to a couple of matters. First off, you made the analogy that this is a corporation that you're running. And I'm
trying.
Pardon me?
Trying.
Yeah. I'm going to presume that all these folks that showed up today are shareholders. And I can gather from what I'm hearing that the sentiment of the shareholders is against this. You also made a comment that there's virtually no risk of litigation on this one. Is that correct?
No, she asked me, was there a risk by turning it down?
All right.
Yeah, and for us to turn down a PUD is our complete prerogative.
Okay. That brings to mind that, so if there's, I call it a downstroke. If there's no downstroke to rejecting this, then you please your shareholders, and everyone goes home happy. The risk of litigation would be nominal or minimal at best.
That's not even an issue. Litigation's not even an issue.
Good, because
The issue is, and again, what can go there, and is that a better choice? That's all I want. That no right or wrong, but something's going there is something that goes there better than what's proposed. That's the question for everybody.
Yeah, and if I may, just for a second, to just recap. It's all mobile home. We can't do anything about that. There's nothing we do about it. If we turn this pirate show down, and the next guy comes in and wants to put 200 mobile homes and vacation in the business part of it, you know what we can do about it? Nothing. Nothing. Not a thing. We don't have trash stops. Now, we can turn it down and roll the dice that somebody, may wants to put a high-end RV park that might be a little better, maybe. Or we can turn this down and roll the dice and try to buy it ourselves. If that doesn't work out, so something else will come in there. But we cannot change the zoning. Something will go in there. So if we're rolling it, what would you rather have? Tony's right.
I understand about the change in zoning. I'm just saying from a risk or reward. I'm an attorney, so I get risk or reward. But as I'm sitting here listening to this, I'm thinking, and I've listened to the arguments and I search my mind as to what someone could really come after you for if you reject it, hearing that it's discretionary, and I can't come across any legal doctrine that would prevent you that would form the basis for them suing you.
No, I don't think we've ever said that.
Right, so I'm throwing that out there as another consideration. Well, if there's zero risk of litigation, then maybe what we do is we tube the project, and we come back at a later date, and the city may at that time be able to buy a portion of the property that it likes, that it has a proposed use for. And the rest of it may remain a mobile home park. So, just a suggestion.
No, it's well taken. But I know what a 20-year-old mobile home park looks like. And I know what's going to end up being there. And I went through other problems that we're going to deal with if that goes there. And everybody's going to be saying, how in the world did y'all let 100 double-wide trailers come in here? So nobody really wants to talk about that, but that is a concern of mine because it's just a concern.
Well,
so I'm not saying the power theory is the right answer, I'm not. But it's legitimate to have concerns about other options and scenarios.
Right, and that's why I was suggesting that. I do remember years ago in 2015, they were going to build a 24-story unit across over on Perdido Key with a restaurant right next to the Broadmoor. And the crowd came out much like they did here over at the event center. And that really turned the tide. So I'm thrilled to see that most people here really are very concerned about this and have basically voiced their opposition.
Well, if we weren't concerned, we wouldn't be doing this.
And I appreciate
it.
Thank you. I've said my piece.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Mary Matthews. I live in Harbor Ridge. Basically, our backyard butts up against this property. I have a couple questions, but I first want to mention that you keep asking what would we rather have there. And I can say from living behind that property that, I can't speak for everyone, but as far as the people in our neighborhood, we would much prefer having the RV park. It's beautiful, it's quiet, it doesn't matter if they add more homes there, temporary or permanent, because traffic will come and go. It's not going to be all at once. I'm concerned about, we have our first responders on that street. We have the fire department and the police station. They need to get to an emergency and a show is ending and traffic is congested there. That's a safety concern. So I would much rather see a growth in that RV park than having something like this on that property. I also, think about things like, our sewage, our water, electrical grid, cellular communications. If you put 1,000 people plus 300 employees in one facility at one time, all of our cellular communications are going to take a hit. You know, are we going to require that they put an in-building cellular communication system, a DAS, to support the people and small cells outside to support that cellular traffic? We also talked about environmental studies and traffic studies, and we're going to be told what infrastructure we need to build to accommodate that attraction. Who's going to pay for that? Is that local funds? Is that state funds? I mean, that's going to come out of tax dollars. And, you know, the idea of buying the property and being able to afford it, to me, is a lot better option than having to work on the infrastructure and pay that amount of money to support and accommodate that facility. And then I guess the last thing I wanted to mention was I heard that some of the fast food restaurants may not have had the labor force to support it. You know, they're planning to hire 300 employees. Where is that labor force going to come from?
And I understand that, but again, that's not my problem. That's the developer's problem. So, you know, they either make it or they don't, but that's not my
I
job.
understand, but it was just made as a point of why the previous options were shut down. So I thought I'd mention it.
And I don't think anybody up here doesn't agree with you. A large RV, nice RV park would be great, but that's a maybe. That's not a for sure thing, is what I'm getting at. So.
I understand, and I think the majority of us here are probably willing to take our chances, because I think the absolute worst option is this car theater.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's reasonable. Oh, right. Who's first?
She was first.
All right.
All right, I'll go. I've got two quick questions. My name's April DePaola. I live in Cypress Village. One, just for clarification for everybody, I think on the stage, if you would just state if any of you have any kind of relationship with the current sellers, buyers, developers, financiers, or broker of this deal.
No.
No.
No. I don't.
Okay, I figured so. I just thought I wanted to put that out there for the record.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. The second question I have is that many of you have made the comment of maybe we can find them something north of the bridge. Can you explain and elaborate what that means and what that relationship of somebody on the city helping the developer finding other property looks like? Because that's come from many of you tonight. So I was just trying to understand what that looks like.
I don't think any of us have ever participated in looking for another spot. I think we have evaluated the possibilities. I have not looked north because we've looked north for us to buy property. There's really nothing up there to be had. The one option I did look at was at the wharf. And was that a possibility? Because again, I thought that might be a good placement for it. And but that didn't work. That didn't work out at all. So,
yeah, from my understanding, this is where they want to be, closer to the condos.
And nothing on the beach. I didn't pursue the beach because they had already surveyed the options on the beach and said they weren't.
Okay. So will you guys continue to aid in the developer's search for an alternative property?
Yeah,
I'm not into that business, helping search for them. Anybody can find a real estate agent. We have plenty of them.
No, so the developer actually has.
I'm not going out and doing it. We, as a council and mayor, by law, are not supposed to be in the speculative market. There's a court ruling years ago, that we do not get into the speculative market for that kind of thing. Maybe the chamber can help them or real estate, but we don't get into finding real estate.
I would encourage them to look everywhere else.
I would assume that's
I
the
certainly would
answer,
too.
but
They're being
many of you have
represented
made the comment, we can find them something else, so I just wanted to clarify.
I apologize, I said that by the goat farm.
They're being represented by a local realtor.
So, I understand that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify on that. Thank you guys.
Well, I deal with developers all the time. And when developers come into my office, they'll present a project and they may not have a place for it. And they say, do you like this project? Is this something? And I'll say, well, probably needs to go on this part of town, it needs to go here, it needs to go there, or whatever. That's, again, doing my job, but I'm not out selling real estate. And I don't pick a real estate agent to use to sell real estate. So I just want to make sure that's put out there and clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I guess it's my turn. My name is Rodney Jones. I live on South Cotton Bayou. I access my house from Beach Boulevard. My business is Hudson Marina, which is on Canal Road. I go down 161 every day. I really buy into everything that you've talked about our city. We have a wonderful school system. I have a grandchild. I'm lucky enough that I have a child and a grandchild that lives here in Orange Beach. I don't mind being inconvenienced by waiting a few minutes at the red light at 161 Canal Road if my 5-year-old daughter can go to our school system. It is special. What, number 2 in the state? I believe it's better than that. We couldn't have that if we didn't have money. The money that this will bring to us will make that school system even better. We can become the #1 school system in the state. I've ridden with my 5-year-old in the back. She's in kindergarten in Orange Beach at our school system. She can add and subtract. She can multiply. She can read, what do you call it, phonically or phonetically? She can pronounce words without knowing what they are. I graduated from college and I can't do that. But she's 5 years old, she's in kindergarten. We keep talking about wanting to move this north of the canal. I'm not in favor of that. I want this right where it is. I want to fill these condos up. I want the revenue that comes from those condos going into our school system. I want the revenue from those condos going into our police department and our fire department. I want it going into all these parks that we've got. I want it going into the park that you're talking about creating. And that if anybody looked at that drawing of how this was going to work out and saw the buffer that the city was going to create between the Terry Cove subdivision and this development, how can they be against it? I mean, it's the greatest thing that's ever happened. 20 years from now, we're going to look back at it and the city buying it. We've got 2 different things we're looking at. If the city buys it, money's going away. If the city allows this to be done, money's going up. That's 2 times. So instead of whatever the price is, $16 million, instead of losing $16 million, we're going to make $16 million or more. But please don't move it. Leave it where it is. Let's make it great, and let's make the city of Orange Beach even greater than it is now. Thank you.
Right now, it's the end. I will say that I don't think we'll be losing if we moved it from a savings over to an investment land that's going to go up. If we ever need the money, we could sell it. But you're right, we would lose the revenue. And I'd like to see that revenue just not right there. But on the other hand, your pirate ship, that's got to go.
I own a pirate ship. You would think I would be against.
No pirates.
Be against this project, but I love Orange Beach. I even love Orange Beach more than my pirate ship, and I like my pirate ship pretty good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. My name is Craig Parker, and I live on Bela Launch, so about halfway between Canal and Oso. I'm not going to speak for the whole neighborhood, but I can speak for a few of my neighbors. I've learned a lot tonight. I mean, I've watched one of your presentations, so I know the business side of it. I ran a business that wasn't a tenth of your size, but the concerns, you know, always look at Canal Road as the community portion and the beach side is the revenue portion. And I kind of separate it, and the closest I try to get to is Publix. You know, that's my lifeline. So
I'm sure we've seen each other.
Just where that place is at, just where that place is going to be at is going to kind of cut me off from. I don't know that 900 cars a day. I understand what you're saying. I'm not as concerned as much about the traffic, more from a selfish standpoint, just getting to Publix at a certain time. But I don't think the neighborhood we're in, we don't want that sort of. And somebody brought up a concern I wasn't even aware of, but there's going to be a lot of people coming from other areas to attend this pirate show, and I have no doubt it's a family-friendly place. I moved here about 5 years ago, growing up in Mobile, but I moved here for the sanctuary park portion. Not that I have kids, not that I'm married, but it kept me away. It was a buffer. It was a bubble, and it's protected me for 5 years, and I hope it does for the next 10 years, 15 years, or until I die. I just worry about not 5 years from now, but 10 years from now, we're going to bring in the Panama City, that sort of riffraff, the Myrtle Beach. I'm worried about that commercialization. But I do understand we have to have something for revenue. And I understand what the gentleman just said. It's a double. If you spend money on property, it's really double because you're going below zero. Plus you're losing revenue. We couldn't be neutral. I'm kind of, after listening for 3 hours to everybody, they've covered all my concerns. I'm not a tree hugger. I don't want to save it for a park. I know we have to do something. But I'm kind of going to go with Jack on this, and if we've got the two ugly girlfriends, let's just pass it till the next one and see what happens. I mean, I would really roll the dice right now, and I'd rather leave it mobile home park and just leave it neutral where we don't buy the property, we don't make anything, we just stay status quo. It's a chess game. And I feel for the position that y'all are in because you've got this weighs on your shoulder when you go to bed at night, I can tell. But I say let's throw the dice and go to the second girlfriend right now.
We appreciate your empathy, I promise you. But, and what you were speaking to, I think is a legitimate, I call it tourism creep. And it's creeping up 161 because I think we have all kept that separation from community on Canal and beach on the front. And this is the first time we've actually seen something move in between. And I get that. I think we all get that. So that is a great point. Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Tron Maxwell. I live on Russian Road. So I think I may be the only one here that lives north, on the north side. And it used to be so peaceful out there, and it was just woods. And now at my front door, there's a shooting range. And it sounds like the Revolutionary War on the weekends. So I think there's plenty of room out there on the north side for pirates because we already have the Three Musketeers. So I'm in favor of north. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
That's one reason I love Old Bridge so much. Look at everyone that showed up today that's concerned about the city.
And 2/3 are gone.
Yeah, because they're old, they gotta go home.
Everybody that stayed this late gets $100. Canada, Jen? Right? Okay. I pretty much hit the wall. I don't know about y'all.
Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Thank you, everybody.